And thanks so much, everyone, for tuning into this session today, which is part of our NetSuite how-to series. And today I'm going to be walking through some basic system health checks that you can do using a native tool called the Application Performance Management SuiteApp. Before we dive into that, though, let me take actually a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Jim Doyle. I'm a senior solutions consultant here at Protello, and my role is to help align our customers with the right NetSuite solutions based on requirements, priorities, and to that end, I'm a NetSuite certified administrator, certified ERP consultant through Oracle, and actually worked for NetSuite directly, supporting their manufacturing team, distribution, retail, all that before coming to Protello. And this topic that we're covering today, even then, was one that we were always trying to spread awareness around. A lot of NetSuite, a lot of companies using NetSuite don't realize that they have this awesome diagnostic tool that is available to them, and you don't really need a technical, strong technical code developer. You don't need that knowledge to use this tool to get some information about the system. I used to get asked all the time, and this is the theme for today. How do I, like I said, as a non-technical power user or administrator, how do I monitor my system's health, identify issues, and take action depending on what I find? These are the questions that at a high level I'll be answering today. And I'm going to be, like I said, doing it from a non-technical standpoint. These APM dashboards are going to make it really easy for us to do this. So here's our agenda for today. I want to quickly talk about some of the customization tools that are available through the SuiteCloud platform, what NetSuite's built on. That's important because those customizations are going to be a big part of what we want to monitor from a system health standpoint. So just want to highlight those. And then just a quick overview of the application performance management, that APM Suite app. And then I'll go into the system. We'll do some health checks in an account so you can see really what you can now go and do and take a look at your own system after we finish this. All right, so NetSuite, as we know, provides a ton of out-of-the-box value through these Suite Success Editions. That's our foundation. These are packed with pre-configured industry-specific roles, dashboards, KPIs, those leading practices that are all baked right into the out-of-the-box solution to reduce implementation effort, cost, speed up your time to value, and allow you to benefit from those thousands of hours of development work that have been invested in that core NetSuite product. But you also get the best of both worlds here. The SuiteCloud platform, which NetSuite is built on, allows you to extend NetSuite. It's unparalleled in the flexibility and the customization opportunities here. So whether it's doing scripting through SuiteScript or SuiteTalk, integrating multiple external applications to NetSuite via API, to Suite Builder, your point and click configuration, custom fields, custom records, Suite Builder, Suite Flow, custom workflows, that visual workflow builder. This layer here at that platform, those customization tools really allow you to continuously optimize NetSuite and tailor it as you continue to grow with the system. Lots of potential. However, as these customizations are developed and deployed, it's really important to deliberately understand how it could impact and how it is impacting the health of your system. You want to make sure that you're being proactive. You're monitoring these as they're being rolled out. You're identifying bottlenecks that could diminish the return or even impede your ability to scale. And by the way, you want to do this before busy season, right? Busy season is not the time to be identifying bottlenecks. We want to plan for those peaks because that's precisely the time that you need your system to be working for you instead of against you. So today we'll be specifically looking at a tool called the APM Application Performance Management Suite app. It's going to help us monitor the performance of not just the out-of-the-box system, but especially our customizations, integrations, and processing efficiency. So the APM SuiteApp, first, it's included and available with all NetSuite additions. You just have to install it. So it's not a licensed module or anything. And it comes with 12 different dashboards and pages to display information and metrics on the health of your system, including things like your record and your page load times, breakdowns of that time so you can identify what's driving longer load times, information on scripts, workflows, customizations, how long are those running, what are the wait times, what are the execution times, integration concurrency. That's it. This is a huge one. Being able to see the traffic via integrations and see if there's any traffic jams so that we can prevent that. We can add some space there for that volume if you need it. And then finally, our SuiteCloud processors. These handle map, reduce, and scheduled scripts, along with CSV import jobs. We're going to be able to see how those are working, what the utilization rates are, and again, whether we're overutilizing those SuiteCloud processors that we get with our system. And so what we'll do now is walk through high-level system health check. I'm going to show you some key pages in this APM tool to go to and what to look for, more importantly, so that you have the tools to at least identify, do some diagnosis, potentially bracket in on areas within the system where there could be an opportunity to optimize. Just continue to make that system as usable as you can. So I'm going to switch over here to my NetSuite account. And I'm currently logged in an administrator role. So I have all my necessary access levels and permissions. And the first thing I'll cover is installing the APM. So all you have to do is go into that SuiteApp marketplace. And I'll search for, I already have it installed, but I'll just show you all. Search for APM. And here it is, Application Performance Management. This is a new version of the APM tool. The older version, if you're familiar with it or if it's already been installed in your account, would have been installed through SuiteBundler. So you do want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date version.
If you do have the old one, you do want to install the SuiteApp at the same time without removing the other one so that all your history transfers over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Sari. And we have a page at the end of the PowerPoint that'll be available after this with links to some articles that walk through the setup. And like Sari said, you want to make sure that you're doing this in a specific sequence so that you can make that migration to the new one. But if you do go in and see SuiteBundler in parentheses next to that performance option, that's the old version. You need to go into the new version. If you do go into the old version, you'll see warnings all over the place at the top of all the pages telling you to go and install the new version. Just wanted to get ahead of that in case there is any confusion. So the first thing we'll do, once we have that APM SuiteApp installed, is looking at these are all our different pages. We won't go into all of them today. I'll give you the key ones to look at. We'll start with our performance health dashboard. This page is going to allow me to monitor urgent and important performance issues that have occurred over the last 7 days. And if I do have issues, it's going to break those down by type. I don't have any issues in this account, but I do have a good screenshot here of what your account would look like if you do have some issues. We can see that there's performance issues, which is related to slow or unusual processing time. There is errors, which you have error rates of some kind, and then standard updates. These are going to show if you have issues related to NetSuite standards. So if you're using old or unsupported versions of certain features, the system will notify you. Or if you are exceeding certain recommended volume thresholds for data processing or integration concurrency. So in this case, this is our integrations tile. I have four standards updates. That's probably because I'm exceeding my integration concurrency. I would need to go drill into that and take a look at it. These links are drillable. So, you go to this page, exception-based system, it'll tell you what you need to look at, and then you can drill in and get a little bit more information, and also see where you could do a little bit further analysis to see, okay, if we don't have an error, maybe there's still potential for optimization, making things more efficient outside just these errors that the system's letting us know exist. So that's our first step, is this performance health dashboard. If I have some issues, then I can go into some of the other pages to get more detail. First being my record pages monitor. So that'll be the second page that we're going to go to, is our record pages monitor. And what this is going to do is help me identify and troubleshoot the performance of my record pages. So there's a lot going on this page. Just starting from the top, we can filter by all our different record pages by most utilized, the most users that are accessing those, or the highest response times. And then we can look at this within the last 30 days, all the way down to just within the last hour. And then sorting by record type and operation. Now, my results that we're looking at here, we have all our different types of record pages that have been used in the system. Looks like I have 10 here. And so like this is our sales order save function. And so I can see we have had 11 instances of this by one user, me. And then here is some information, some charts that show detail on that. These charts are draggable. I'm not sure if that's a word. You can drag and zoom in if there is a word for that. So it's interactive, drill in, and so here we can see if I hold my arrow over one section on one of these charts, it's also going to provide the metrics for the other charts. So I can see my response time for these sales orders. I can see the total time. I can see how that breaks down between client server. And then in my throughput chart, my user event and workflow chart, I can see things like the number of record instances and users over a period of time. This is really helpful in identifying periods of heavy usage where I could potentially offload traffic into non-peak times, depending on the record that it is. I also have within the user event and workflow chart, this is going to probably one of the more important charts because it shows me the impact of scripts and workflows on these record pages. So this could be really helpful in determining the exact impact of customizations. In fact, here's a good example. I'm going to drill into, these are drillable too, so I can drill down into the page details for that. And what this is going to do is bring up just more detailed, since I clicked on that sales order for that specific day, April 27th, it's going to show me the underlying data that populate those charts. So I can see my 9 logs by one user, and then all our different mean, median, standard deviation, and then the breakdown, client, network, suite script, and workflow. So if you see big numbers in your suite script and workflow, then that's going to be something you may want to look at, and perhaps some of those scripts could be scheduled or map reduce or optimized. That's getting more into the technical discussion about how we fix issues that we identify. But at least you can see that the culprit would be a customization that I have applied to my sales order. I can see all my different individual instances down here, and if I select it, then this pie chart is going to show me the breakdown of that page time, how much of it is my NetSuite system, and how much of it is, again, these different scripts or workflows that trigger when I go ahead and save a sales order. If you see this slice of the pie that's not NetSuite system getting larger and larger, those customizations and things like that, then that's certainly something you'd want to take a look at and potentially optimize. So once we've looked at our record pages, we've looked at some of the details in that page time monitor, the next page that I want to highlight is my SuiteCloud Processors monitor. right? So SuiteCloud Processors monitor. And what this is going to do is allow me to monitor the performance of all my scheduled and MapReduce script jobs. And this overview portlet here is going to specifically tell me for those SuiteCloud processors, of which I have 2. That's what you start with just the standard, NetSuite service tier. I got 2 processors. I can see my jobs completed, how many jobs have failed, what my average wait time, and then this processor utilization. This is an important number. My utilization rate in this account is pretty low, but I'll show you an example here in a minute of ones where you have a higher utilization rate, because what that's telling you is the closer you get to the higher that number gets, the more likelihood that you're having jobs that are queuing or there's wait times, depending on how well you spread out your work throughout your day versus having peak time that are driving that utilization rate up. This is going to show all the different jobs, all the different scripts that we have here, whether they're MapReduce or scheduled, and the numbers that are making up that total completed versus failed, our average execution times, wait times, and again, I can drill into the details. I won't do that here, but these dashboards are all really interactive and drillable. This wait time by priority, this is going to help me see the relationship between number of jobs and the total wait time. And the reason that's important is because if my total number of jobs aren't necessarily fluctuating, but I'm seeing wait times going up and down, then that tells me that there's something going on that would maybe I want to investigate a little bit further. Right? I think that, yeah, here we go. This is a good example of if there's a lot of activity, this would be our wait time by priority. So all our different job priorities, we can see how that volume is impacting the wait time. And then we can also see our processor utilization. I'll go ahead and zoom in down in here. Since our utilization is pretty low, I can see that I have a lot of available space on my SuiteCloud processors. But if you do see that utilization rate creeping up, then know that we can add SuiteCloud processors if we need to make up for that. And again, how your utilization rate relates to the number of jobs over time. A heat map, concurrency heat map, so I can see my 2 SuiteCloud processors. Which ones we're using based on time by day down to the hour. Very detailed. So a lot of really good information about our SuiteCloud processors. We can really get into the weeds on this. Technical folks will get into the weeds on how we can, when we add processors, optimize how jobs are being prioritized, queued, and processed through and completed. You can set up rules and things like that just to increase the efficiency. And so this is, you can have a lot of fun with this page depending on what you see. And I guess I'll mention it too, since I'm on it and I drilled into it. All the help articles and all the suite answers on the APM tool are awesome. You can drill into all of these and see not just example screenshots, but full descriptions of what all those fields look like. So we have a little bit higher processor utilization, and I can see again what's driving that, specific scripts, and then within those scripts, we can certainly drill in and see more detail on how the components of that are driving the total time. All right, I'm going to take a quick pause and make sure I didn't miss anything on this page that I want to hit, and 2, check for questions. And Sari, maybe I see we have a good amount of traffic in here. What is wait time? How long does it take to process an order? Wait time's not necessarily bad if you have time scheduled, or if it's scheduled to execute at a certain time. So it really depends on the record or the script, the job type. What I would say is you want to use these dashboards to drill in and identify areas where you could optimize, and then you'd probably still need a technical resource, and we'll talk about some options there here in a second, to go in and do the fix if there is a potential for optimization. So there's not really a standard, how long does it take to process an order? It depends a lot on the customizations or the scripts that you have, workflows that are initiating when you're using that record. All right, let me hit now. So we've hit our SuiteCloud Processors monitor. The next page that I'm going to check is going to be my concurrency monitor. If there is one page that I would say make sure you're definitely checking this, is your concurrency monitor, especially if you have integrations with high volume applications. Think WMS or manufacturing execution system, external apps that are generating a lot of transactions with a lot of detail that need to go back and forth between your system. What this concurrency monitor does is show me a heat map of that integration traffic volume. So I have a limit, the standard service tier, the limit you start with is 5, concurrency limit of 5. Think of that like a 5-lane highway that I can process data via integration through. Now, if I go above that concurrency limit, it's not a shutoff valve, it's just I'm above that limit. And so we could potentially have an error rate. It could be taking longer. It'll tell me if I'm close to that limit rate. Here's a good example of a heat map where we have some issues. So this person has added to their concurrency limit. They've added what's called a SuiteCloud Plus license. So now they have a 15-lane highway, but their peak concurrency is still high. And so if you have a little bit of red, you can usually get away with that. But if you see red lit up when you open up your concurrency heat map, then it's definitely worth looking at that, determining whether we need more concurrency or whether we can schedule those integrations to process data in a more efficient manner, maybe overnight instead of just throughout the course of the day. A couple of different options there. And the other thing here is you can select your different date ranges. So 7 days versus 30 days. And this is also going to go down for each individual day. It'll show me by the hour. So you'll be able to see lunchtime, a lot of times you can see morning, we get orange all the way up towards red, and then maybe there's a little bit of a break while people are at lunch, and then you can see it get orange and red again. So it's kind of interesting to track that activity throughout the day down to the individual hour. And it's actionable. Interesting's nice, but we want something that's actionable. All right. So that's our concurrency monitor. And then the final page that I want to talk about today is going to be search performance analysis. What this page is going to do is provide analysis and information on all the different searches and reports that you have. So if you do have error rates, if you do have execution times that are high or on average high, you can drill into these. Similar to the record pages monitor, you're going to get some information about these saved searches, and when you run them, how long it takes. I'm going to let this load for a second, come back to this page, but it's ultimately about saying, okay, do I need to redesign this search so that it doesn't take so long to run, or can I schedule it to run at some time where it's not going to be happening concurrently to a bunch of users being in the system? We know that you can schedule these to run at certain times, and so that may be something that you could do there. Okay, let me see if there's any questions here. See a question about concurrency limit. Yes, so that concurrency limit isn't a hard cap. Coming back to this concurrency monitor here, and I'm going to open up my good example. So this 15 concurrency limit, and if you don't have a SuiteCloud Plus or if you're not on a higher tier level, then you'll be at 5. You can go above 5, but just know that jobs may be queuing essentially. And then if that traffic jam gets long enough, then that's where you could have timeouts or error rates. And then the other thing to clarify on concurrency is that this doesn't mean I can have 15 integrations. Not all integrations are created equal. Some are low volume. If I integrate with my payroll system, how often am I bringing that data into NetSuite versus a WMS? I'm integrated with RF Smart, where there's a ton of receipt and fulfillment and inventory transfer. There's constantly transactions that are coming through. So that one integration may bump me up over my concurrency limit, as opposed to having 5 low volume integrations and my screen looks totally blue. I'm totally healthy. So did just want to clarify that on the concurrency. I see a question about RF Smart as a concurrency. I believe it is. That's an external app. So you can go in and check your heat monitor, and you can drill into this too and actually see, okay, if I do have integration traffic, these are the applications that are responsible for that. So if you have questions about that, I'd definitely recommend just installing APM real quick and running that concurrency heat map. And then I see, well, tokenized REST API connections utilize this concurrency limit or just direct integrations. I'm going to take that offline. Tokenized REST API. Yeah, that's a good question. We'll take that offline and we'll respond. We have the name and email, so we'll be sure to follow up on that question and any others that I miss here in the chat as we go through this today. All right. Okay, let's go ahead then and yeah. So here's our search performance details page. Similar to the record pages monitor, you can see all your different execution times for this specific search that I drilled into, total requests. If I do have timeout rates, again, this account's pretty healthy, so not a ton of issues, no timeout rate. But if you do see that, if you do see high execution times for some of these searches, then that's something that we want to take a look at before it becomes a challenge, or before. And especially with searches, a lot of times those can be, the efficiency of those can be improved. Okay, and we'll actually, I see a couple of notes in here. I want to know the answer to that question too. We'll publish the questions and the answers as part of the follow-up to this. So we'll have that in the deck, all the questions that we have here and the answers to those, so everyone can benefit. And then one more question about exported and emailed. It's case by case on these pages. Some can, some can't. And so it would depend on the specific information that you would want to export or to email. I think that there are searches that you can run to potentially save searches, but I would have to check on that. All right. So let me go back now, check my time here. We'll quickly recap some of these key pages that we just hit. First stop is that, and I just to go through the key pages. There are 13 of those dashboards. I recommend you check them all out. They're all really cool, but these are the 5 that if I could call to action, I'd say go check and see if there's anything there. First is that performance health dashboard. This is going to show you if there are, right off the bat, any issues that the system's flagged. And remember, those 3 alert types, performance, errors, and NetSuite standards, those are drillable. So if you do have alerts, you can drill into those and see if you can determine what the fix should be. This is also something Protello can do for you. And depending on the issue, you may need a technical fix, which of course is something that we're happy to support as well if you don't have that internal resource. The second page that we looked at was the record pages monitor. Here, you want to identify the most utilized and the highest response time pages. And to take that a step further, you can even do some preliminary analysis on how your customizations are impacting that total time. And again, that's something that Protell is happy to help with, and then also provide suggestions on optimization if those opportunities do exist in your account. The SuiteCloud Processors monitor, this is used to analyze the performance of your SuiteCloud processors, which are responsible for those MapReduce and scheduled scripts, along with CSV import jobs. So here, you can really see how those individual processor utilization rates are driving the system, and if there are any bottlenecks that could lead to extended wait times, long job queues, failed jobs. This one's easier of a fix, because if you do just need more processors, then we can do a SuiteCloud Plus license, which is just going to increase the number of SuiteCloud processors in your account, which is similar to the next page that we went to, that concurrency monitor. This shows your integration health. If you see that you're over the limit, over that concurrency limit, and have an error rate, a lot of red on that heat map, then adding a SuiteCloud Plus license is also going to increase your concurrency limit. So you're adding lanes, you're going from a 5-lane highway to a 15-lane highway, right? And then that search performance analysis, only spent a couple minutes on there, but that allows you to view your execution times, timeout rates for your searches and reports. Those could potentially be scheduled or adjusted to run more efficiently. Again, that's something that we can support. Now, last thing before we finish up is want to give a bit more detail on how Protell can support this, depending on what you find when you do your own little checks, or if you want us to execute that check for you. We actually offer a NetSuite health check. This is a service where we provide an in-depth report of your NetSuite environment. We use that APM tool in conjunction with our technical resources to provide you with an inventory of your scripts, your workflows, review your usage, and provide some analysis on performance, including some of the items that we've covered today. And then we'll also provide suggestions on potential script optimizations and other ways that can reduce the complexity of your customizations to improve performance if that opportunity is there. And like I said, this is actionable, right? We can also provide that technical resource to execute on these optimization opportunities, perform those cleanups, and as follow-on projects if you need that support as well. And then SuiteCloud Plus license. This is a NetSuite product that you can purchase. There's a couple different benefits to adding SuiteCloud Plus licenses. First is that when I add a SuiteCloud Plus license, I'm going to increase my concurrency limit for integrations. All right, so we talked about you start on 5. So coming back to that metaphor, if we want to add lanes to that highway, every time I add a SuiteCloud Plus license, I'm adding 10 lanes until I no longer have red on my concurrency heat map. And I clarified that the concurrency limit isn't number of integrations, it's just volume through however many integrations you have there. SuiteCloud Plus licenses also add SuiteCloud processors, which means that you can process more of those scheduled and MapReduce scripts. So adding my first SuiteCloud Plus license takes me up to 5, and then it incrementally up by 5 for every additional SuiteCloud Plus license that I add. And then finally, SuiteCloud Plus license increases your CSV import queues and those threads per queue, which allow for more efficient concurrent processing of those jobs via multiple threads. Bottom line is, if you do a lot of CSV importing and those jobs take a while, then there may be some value in streamlining that by adding a SuiteCloud Plus license. Increase your import queues and the threads per queue. And you can see how that kind of goes up, diminishing, right? So we don't go above this, but yeah, definitely can be helpful, especially with that initial 2 licenses for your CSV import process. Okay, additional resources. What we're going to do is put some more. We'll put a few more resources in here for things like data sheets that you may need, along with follow-up that Sari's going to send out. And then we'll also include. We'll do the questions in here as well, so that you can see any questions that folks asked and what the answers were. These are Suite Answers articles and a couple videos on YouTube. So should be helpful in getting started if you're starting from scratch with this. I see the question starts with great presentation, Jim. So I appreciate that. And then the question is basically how can you identify how can you pinpoint what may be causing system latency if you're noticing inconsistent, it seems like, performance with your NetSuite account. And I would say to answer that, those 5 pages that we looked at today are going to be really helpful in at least allowing you to bracket in on which records, which pages, which scripts, which CSV import jobs, where the time is taking longer. And then depending on what that is, once you kind of get down to, okay, it's that sales order with these workflows and customizations. And then depending on your technical resource, or whether you want support from Protello, there's a process to go through and kind of audit customizations basically, and see if there's inefficiencies or if there's tasks within that that can be scheduled to run as a scheduled script or batch overnight or something like that. That's a tough question to answer because it's really dependent on your system. But this health check should give you a good starting point, and we can certainly support too if you need that help. Yeah, so I see questions about more about concurrency limit. I think it's a commercials question. You can so those, when you add, and I don't want to get too overly technical here, partially because I'm not myself a technical resource, but when you have additional concurrency, there are ways to engineer those integrations to like dedicate specific concurrency lanes to integration. So if you have a high priority integration and you want to dedicate certain lanes to it, so no matter what's going on with your other integrations, you have dedicated through lanes for a high priority system like a WMS, then that can be done. But that's definitely a little bit more technical, I would say, but happy to help there.
We really look forward to hearing your feedback on this webinar, along with look out for future ones as well. We're really hoping, and feel free to send me topics over. You guys have my email address. Send me some topics you'd love to hear. We'd love to see what you guys are interested in. So thank you all again, and thank you, Jim.